Hi guys, I haven't made a video in a few weeks. Sorry about that. But to this commenter, I am so proud of you and your husband. It takes a lot of bravery to do this. So good for you. I just wanted to maybe try to give you guys some advice in order to prepare. I would prepare a list of 10 to 15 questions. Do not expect honest answers. So whenever you meet with these people, it's always a legal matter, and you're going to treat it like a legal matter because you're going to begin documenting and you're going to begin preparing for a court case. Doesn't mean you have to go to court, but these folks are legally trained. They know documentation. They know that written statements. They know affidavits of truth. They know that all of these things can be used as evidence in a court case. So you just want to present yourself as creating these things, okay? It's going to gain more respect from them as they are speaking to you. But go ahead and look in your state, the state of Colorado. Go through the statutes for your state, okay? The statutes that deal with the requirement to have a driver's license. And within those statutes, do any of those statutes require a federal ID for you to, partake in the privilege of driving upon state-funded roads? Why are they requiring a federal ID for you to drive on state-funded roads? Now, if none of those statutes require you to have a federal ID for the purpose of driving upon state roads, then in return, what your state is doing is they are relinquishing their power, their jurisdiction, and their ability to be able to require licensing for the privilege to drive because they're no longer offering a state-issued ID. Okay? There's a big difference between the state government and the federal government. And the state governments constitutionally are not supposed to act as agents for the federal governing body. Okay? I would suggest crafting 10 to 15 very logical questions rooted in the laws. Also look up your state constitution. So look up Colorado state constitution, print it off, read it carefully, know it when you go in, because there's a good chance, I know my state's constitution, I'm not familiar with Colorado's, but there's a good chance there's violations happening right within your state constitution. Everybody should know your state constitution, okay? Craft those questions, document the answers, stay very calm. Okay, stay very calm, stay very honorable. Let them know that you're documenting this, okay? And then after your experience with the deputy registrar, make sure that you craft an affidavit of truth, okay? Which is, make sure it's 100% truthful and factual concerning your experience with the deputy registrar and what is said based upon those 10 questions rooted in law. Craft your affidavit of truth. It can be notarized after you craft it or draft it, which you can get a notary at a bank. Finding a notary public isn't too difficult. It only costs a couple dollars. Send that affidavit of truth, log it with the court, but also send it in registered mail to the DMV, to your local DMV, and also to that deputy registrar's office, just stating the facts of your experience. Because what a lot of you folks can do is begin building a RICO case. Because this is racketeering and collusion for the purpose of criminal activity, perpetuating criminal activity upon the general public, which means they're forfeiting their positions, and they're also could be potentially looking at federal prison time. So just that would be my advice. But I know I know this stuff, when you're new to it, is kind of scary. Just understand they are there to serve you. They are not serving you. And they are actually in breach of their contract, okay? Because they're supposed to be in charge of issuing state driver's licenses. And they're not. They're issuing federal IDs. That's all that the real ID is. It's a federal ID. It has nothing to do with the privilege of driving. So if they refuse to give you a state driver's license, then in turn, they're forfeiting their jurisdiction. They're forfeiting their ability to even require a driver's license within their state. They're no longer requiring it. They're requiring a federal ID, which is not something that you have to consent to, because there's no law that tells you that you have to have a federal ID. None. So be strong, be smart. I know it's boring. Read the laws, because those are the rules they have to abide by. Also, make yourself familiar with the Code of Federal Regulations. Every single public employee has to abide by and contracts with all of the Code of Federal Regulations. And there's over 300 and some pages. You'll find some goodies in there, I promise. Either way, I'm proud of you for standing up. You're being a thorn in the side. You're doing what the majority of the public is too fearful to do. And both you and your husband should be patting yourselves on your back. Very proud of you. And I will pray for God's favor upon you as you walk in there, that you will have strength, you will have confidence, and you will come out victorious.